G'day guys, hope all is well. Today I'm taking note of what you put in my survey as far as teaching you as opposed to tipping you. I don't tip, never have done, and I never will. I will teach you and point you in the right direction for the courses and the subscriptions, but it's more to me about giving you the the old saying, feed a man a fish. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man a fish, feed him for life. So based on that, I want to take you through something I think is extraordinarily important, certainly for my methodology and the way that I trade and that I teach, that I think I can cover it in a relatively short period of time that you actually get it, right? And it's called scaling in and scaling out. Scaling into a trade. Let's start with that. Okay, let's have a look at Bitcoin here, because back here there was a trade that I took. It's not hindsight. It's fine, you can see it. I've got records all over the members area. I'm just, let's not question the validity of the before and after here. Let's just go with the lesson. This pullback into the cradles, I went in an uptrend, bit of a big candle, but I was happy to take that based around my thoughts that it could move higher, and it has done. Now for me, what I'm doing here, and I covered it on the podcast, it's trying to build into the big one. Now for me, with Bitcoin, this is a market that can make me a lot of money in a very small period of time if it goes off again. Now, if you just recall this, right? Let's go back to the glory days, which were less than a year ago. And note how we were grinding along nice, and then we really started to accelerate very, very hard. Now, what I'd like to do when I scale in is what I'm doing now, because we are back into a daily uptrend, we are starting to see some momentum. I'm happy to scale in, and I'm trying to build a position. So, normally I'll risk 1% on each trade. Now I'm building positions here so that I'll build to, I might have a 3, 4, 5% position on, and I'm hoping that I've built it enough. So I build a decent sized position for when it does start to move. Theoretically, I believe it will move hard again at some point. So scaling in, coming back to the subject, I've scaled in here. Now I haven't taken any profit off the table. I haven't scaled out. So scaling in is building a position. First trade, next trade that I'll find, I found one on Sunday. I missed it by $7 on a booster, but then I'll start to take, say, 1-to-1. So I'll leave half of the trade. I'll close 50% of the trade at 1-to-1. So if my risk is this, my reward is the same amount. Scaling out, so therefore the other half of the trade is risk free. So I'll build a position, scaling into a move. Now scaling out, let's use Litecoin as an example, because this was a great another one around the same period of time. Last Friday the call went out, pulling back in again, old resistance, back into that cradle zone, beautiful little setup, broke the highs and off it ran. Now scaling out would suggest if this is my entry as it breaks through the high of this candle, and this is my stop loss, my trade risk is between $60.65, let's just keep it nice and simple, and let's just say it's $2. Make it nice and simple. So I've got $2 risk. That's the trade risk between my entry and my stop loss. So let's say I've made a $1,000 trade. I'm going to close. I'll just use this line. I'm going to scale out half the position about here, which, as you can see, that's about 1-to-1. The reward on top of the risk. So this is the risk multiple, $2, and this is the reward multiple, $2. A little bit more when you take into account the cost of the trade. So again, that's 1-to-1. That's scaling out. So scaling out allows me to minimize my risk. Now that once it's hit this first target of 1-to-1, I can leave my stop loss down here. If the market goes, stops me out, because I've closed half of the position at 1-to-1, I will have no risk. I would lose very close to nothing. Okay. Now, then we got to look at trailing our stop losses. So we can scale in to try and build a bigger position, and we can scale out to help us. Scaling out can also be a part of building that larger position, but scaling out allows us then to trail our stops based on the trend. Now what this allows is it allows us to follow the momentum of the market. Now as we saw here, a potential higher low, it wasn't a higher low until the higher high broke. So then I can move my stop loss up to where it was before on this, from here up to here. Now of course I've locked in 1-to-1 already, so I've locked in now more than that, and I'm definitely going to be making about 1.5% profit, let's say roughly. So if I risk $1,000 on this, I'm set to make $1,500 if I get stopped out here, of course being up more right now. So scaling in is important to understand if you're trying to build a position, so you can cost average into trades or investments, I should say. For me, I'm trying to time my entries on Bitcoin and let it run let it go. Now, I might be wrong. It might not have. I mean, we could very well go back down to 6,000. Sorry, on Bitcoin. It could very well fall back down to 6,000. I'm very much aware of that. But you've got to understand that, and a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines now are not trading. One thing I want you guys to understand is this. Not very often do you get a market like this. I truly believe we will see Bitcoin create new all-time highs. I don't know when, but I believe we will. And because of that, there will be a big move. Now, I know that with my skill set, I can build a position where, that one trade or a sequence of a number of trades, building a trade with the experience I've got, that might make me millions of dollars. And the best thing is it might happen in the space of a short period of time. If you recall, let's go back out and look at how fast things occurred. When Bitcoin did start to move, I mean, we went from the level we're at now, right here. It took us November 18. It took us 1 month to go from 6,000 to 20,000. Now you take like a $200 stop, divide it by by 14,000 divided by 200, and let's just do that right now. That my math isn't good enough to do that in my head. So 14,000 divided by 200. That's a 70 times multiple. So if I just risk $1,000 on that trade and I only get one position, just one position, and I ride that move. I know I'm talking about getting out the top. It's more about the example. That's a 70 times move. One trade, 70 grand. Why wouldn't I do that? So it's important to know how to scale in. It's important to know how to scale out. And it's important that if you don't know this and you're interested, that you get something together and get ready. Because I'm building now. I am building positions right now. I'm not, I don't just buy in for the sake of it based on thought. I build in based on trades, and I scale out to make sure that I'm minimizing my risk while still maximizing the upside return. So I hope it helps, and I hope it finds you well. Have a great day. Speak to you again soon. Bye for now.